Hello, Winstead. How are you tonight? Or today, depending on your time zone. Like your emoji. Hello, Ronan, bruh. Thanks for calling me your queen. How are you guys doing tonight? Does the title Vampires, Surgeons, Pirates, and Billionaires ring a bell? Oh, JB, you are too kind. You really are. Thank you so much, JB. You are awesome. I really appreciate you. How are you, JB? Hello, Abdul Malik Badamasi. Hello, Vince, friend. And thanks for the fire emojis, Ronan, bro. So, guys, vampires, pirates, billionaires, surgeons. What does it make you think of? Um, Christian Zacharian says, what I miss, how long has the live been going? Like literally 1 minute, probably. So you're right at the start, Christian. JB Wells says, can I do a consultation one of these days about a relationship situation? Absolutely, JB. You definitely can. Email me, my nonleatherlife@gmail.com. We will get on that. You can also share it in the chat tonight if you want. Might be more private, so whichever you prefer. Hello, Mark from Germany. Very cool. What part of Germany, Mark? Winston says, how are you? Tell us. Well, I'm doing pretty good. I just got done watching The Bachelor. I get a lot of insight from that show. Pretty interesting. I actually wanted to film some things Zach, The Bachelor, did tonight because I think he did some things quite well that you guys could learn from. Specifically relating to my video about the 3 masks, about inner beauty, complementing both outer beauty and inner beauty. There's like the maximum mindgasm potential for a compliment. So, Francisco Collins says, I finally gave this dating app my money, lol. Hopefully I get more opportunities to practice and find something. Lol, I'm doing well. Thanks. Oh God, I just defined opportunities by clicking on it. And find something, lol, I'm doing well, by the way. Thank you for asking. Which dating app? Tinder Plus, Hinge? Do they have like a paid thing? Yeah, I've actually been doing some research on Tinder. Yeah. I feel half naked. Hi, I feel like a lot of guys compare money and status, like comparing the size of their genitals. It's truly sickening. Most people lack a spiritual sense in dealing with the world. So are you saying they compare money and status and the size of their genitals like to each other? Or could you go more into detail about what that means exactly? I feel half naked. I mean, yeah, I'm not sure what to think about that because not okay. I don't want to say size of the genitals is important because then you guys will freak out because it's not. But money can be important, status can be important, so that's what I'm thinking. So then, Justo, but like you said, people lack a spiritual sense in dealing with the world. Well, what do you exactly mean by spiritual sense? It could be defined different ways, and I'm sure I agree with you. So Justo Fernandez says, makes me think of Dr. Peterson. Exactly. That's who I'm referring to. And that is what I have been getting a lot of comments about recently. So yeah, I thought we could discuss that maybe if you guys don't have any questions, just alternate topic here. So then Vince says, yes, women's fantasy. Or is it, Vince? That's what Dr. Peterson has been saying. However, truth is stranger than fiction. First Last says, hey, hello, first last. KO says, Hey, how are you? And what about bad boys, gangsters, and serial killers, lol? Getting right down into it. What about them? I want to say bad boys, good. Gangsters, sexy. And serial killers, hell to the no. First class, what are your favorite YouTube channels? They're kind of like female gaze channels. Like I'd say my ultimate favorite YouTube channel, this woman who lives in Sweden, Jonna Jinton. Um, yeah, probably not something up your guys' alley. But my friend, he recently told me about. Well, I've only watched one video from it, so I can't say that's my favorite now. What am I saying? Well, I'm saying I've watched like all of John and Jinton's videos, but this one which I thought you guys might know of, I've only watched one video, so how can I bring that up? No. Mark Tetzner says Black Forest area in Germany. I'm not kidding, Mark. I have always wanted to see the Black Forest. I'm not kidding. Like, I really want to go. So then Kadir says, you were telling that it is about how they act, not about their status, right? Or did I get it wrong? Well, how you act is huge. In fact, it can trump everything. However, status can be an advantage, can it not? I mean, let's be real. It's still highly important. However, how you act can trump your status 100%. So then it's all on a whim says, do you ever get into the weeds? Well, I don't. I don't. Have I tried? Yes, but I don't like get into it. So then okay, Francisco Collins got a paid subscription or paid whatever to Hinge. Very cool. All right, so just trying to get everyone because it's so rude, isn't it? Like when you go on a live and then they just skip over you. Yeah, I went on a live and they skipped me. I'm like, this sucks. So I feel bad when I do that to you guys, but at the same time, it can be hard because then it takes so much time to go through everybody. But I don't want you guys to feel like I'm ignoring you because I'm not. All right, so what am I saying? So B Smith says, thanks for lives. Thanks, B Smith. Samuel Williams. I know if you got my email, but are women more drawn to guys who have positive and good things always happen to them? Or are they more drawn to guys whose lives are full of constant drama and negativity? Okay, Sam, I did get your email. There's just quite a few questions, so I haven't got around to answering it yet. However, I'll try to answer it now. So I would say in general, women are drawn to guys who have positive and good things happening to them, okay? But then you were kind of saying to me in the email, like, women want to heal. There's this trope that women want to heal guys who have like a tortured past, let's say, like in a romance novel. So it seems like they might be drawn to guys who are like constantly dramatic and negative. No, they're not. I mean, it's good if a guy has just kind of like a hint of a soft side, weak side, where they can kind of like connect to the guy emotionally. But no, they're not going to like constant drama and negativity. No. So, hello, Evie. Hello. Oh, B. Smith says hello, Evie. Very cool. I feel half naked. Like money and status is everything. I don't agree it's everything. Okay, but he's explaining, okay, truly superficial, like that's what they think. Yeah, a lot of guys do think that. That's true. Like I get that on my channel all the time, like in the comments. They truly believe it. It's really, really annoying. And I just feel like they've been so misled by these red pill channels, to be honest. Okay. Then Jack Lee says size does matter if only for us. What do you mean by that, Jack Lee? Because somebody in the comments was actually saying he got fillers in his dick. Edgar says, hello, hello. Samuel Williams says, like if they always have to say I'm sorry during their conversations, will that wear them down after a while, or do they feed on this so they can enact their motherly instincts and try to take care of them? No, I don't think so. I mean, it's an interesting point, but no. Most women, they don't want to feel their motherly instincts. It's like if the guy is really if they really like the guy and he has like pain or a dark side, then that part of them will kick in, but they don't want to be in like the mother role in general. So it's kind of like a small piece, perhaps, of how they want to be in a relationship. I mean, I personally don't want to be doing like any motherly role in my relationship. But let's say my boyfriend, he really like shared with me something really painful. You could say that would enact my motherly instinct because I would just try to be empathetic, sympathetic, try to like be really comforting and heal him. However, do I want to like be that way in the whole relationship in general? No, definitely not. In fact, it's highly unattractive. So I could see how it could be misconstrued though. So then Jerwin James says, "Hey, came to hear about vampires." All right, yeah. If you guys want to talk about this whole Jordan Peterson thing, Beauty and the Beast, vampires, pirates, billionaires, surgeons, we can talk about it. B. Smith says, "Money and status are not everything. I was married poor and it was great times." 100% B. Smith. 100%. Hello, Nate. Hello, Jarmello. Evie says, "Victoria, I read In the Heart of Dominance." Great job, Evie, for reading that book I recommended. Let's see what you say about it. He said that a dominant should not bear the sole responsibility. I'm a little confused. How do I expect the submissive to also take a share of the responsibility? So, do you remember? Could you give me like a little more context around that? Because I don't remember that exact line or like what he was referring to. So, could you perhaps fill me in there, Evie? So, Jermel says, "Do women find graphic designers sexy?" I think they can definitely find graphic designers sexy. However, would it be considered like one of the sexiest professions? I would have to say no. Okay, because it's a little safe. Do you know what I mean? It's just slightly feminine and it's slightly corporate. So it just feels a little bit safe. You know what I'm saying? It's not like, being a firefighter. Does that mean they couldn't like be in lust for a graphic designer? No, they could definitely. But I'm just saying, as a profession, let's just isolate it and take it like, is the career of graphic designer itself sexy? It's definitely not in the top 20, in my opinion. Um, B. Smith says to EV, he's trying to listen to ASMR boyfriend for skills, but it's so difficult. Is it because it's so cringe, B. Smith? Or learning anything from that? So I feel half naked says, if you talk with people who are obsessed with making money, their soul is lacking. Their mind always wanders around the destination if you pay attention to their demeanor. Interesting. Interesting. Half naked. So Francisco Collins says, can I suggest a must watch? I highly recommend the interview podcast between Ali Abdal and Matthew. Is that Hussey? Oh God. Oh God, I really don't like that guy. On dating, connection, compatibility, perceived value, good stuff. I also watched the YouTube channel of Ali Abdal. So I know him, I feel like I know him quite well. I do not like Matthew Hussey at all. However, maybe he's good for like men. Maybe, I mean, he's a female dating coach, right? So does he talk on this podcast about like male dating tips? That's interesting. Um but like you can always learn something from these dating coaches, I'm sure. Even if it's only like why you disagree with them. So let's see. Um, Drew and James says, "What if vampires is that or is that clickbait?" I guess it's kind of clickbait, but you guys know like about this whole thing, right? It's basically Jordan Peterson misquoted um this book, A Billion Wicked Thoughts, okay, in which they kind of like analyze data from like 10,000 or perhaps more Harlequin romances, which are like the romance novels that you see in the drugstore that women read. I've read a bunch of them. Some of them are actually really good. Okay. But he kind of like, they kind of like took the data from that and found and compiled a list of the top 10 sexiest professions, or sorry, the top 10 professions that are featured in romance novels. So then Jordan Peterson took it out of context and he said, these are the top 5 female fantasies. Okay, that's wrong. They were just listing what are the top professions in romance novels. And Jordan Peterson actually misquoted the book because he was probably just trying to remember it. And he added in some other professions like vampires and werewolves, or yeah, I think werewolves, which were not even in the top 10 professions in romance novels. So he kind of like conflated two things from the book. And he said that that was the top female erotic fantasies. Okay, so can you guys see how different it is that the professions that romance novelists most commonly have like their male characters doing versus the top erotic female fantasies. Like if you guys can't understand that, then it's just ridiculous. Okay? Because just because the guy has that job in the romance novel doesn't mean that's what women are orgasming to. It's not like they open the book, they read, "Oh my god, he's a billionaire. Oh my god, I'm coming." No, guys, that's ridiculous. An erotic fantasy has a storyline. It has a plot. It's a story, okay? So it can't just be a profession. So literally, I have gotten thousands of comments on my channel from guys saying, "Oh, we know all about what the like top female erotic fantasies are. It's surgeons," which is so fucking absurd. Okay, maybe doctors would be kind of more that's like a more common kinky fantasy. But not surgeons. Not being like cut up under anesthesia. Come on now. Like if you were a woman, you would see how insane that is. Okay? That's not a sexual fantasy. But yet because surgeons are rich, you know, that might be a character in a romance novel. Maybe it's even like, you know, the guy she's dating who she doesn't like, who the main character is going to steal her away from, but it's a common profession, okay? That doesn't mean that's what's sexy. So it was just annoying me so much because everyone's saying, "Oh, no, 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 like females are just like masturbating to us, you know, billionaires all the time." Billionaires who? Like billionaires Bill Gates? Like are women just like masturbating to Bill Gates all the time? No. He's not sexy. It depends how the billionaire acts, okay? If he's just like really uncool and really unsexy and really beta, they're not gonna be masturbating to it, okay? So, do you see why it just annoys me so much? Because everyone just is taking Jordan Peterson's like little talk like it's law, and he misquoted it, he misunderstood it. He doesn't even understand. Like, if he understood the first thing about female sexual fantasies, he would know that it doesn't even make sense. Do you guys know what I mean? And then on top of that, there's another part of it where he's like, guys, every single female erotic fantasy comes down to Beauty and the Beast, which I disagree with as well. Because he's like, they want to tame like the wild beast. And that's kind of just parroting what all these red pill channels are saying about how like women want to like bring men to their knees. They want to just, you know, marry the guy and then take all his money and monkey branch. It's like, oh my God, that's not a female sexual fantasy. That's maybe a woman who's like, I'm going to compartmentalize my sexual and erotic fantasies and do what's practical, which is marry a guy with money so I can get ahead in life. That's not really that erotic for them, though. It can be in certain cases. Okay. Like, let's say, they're just like really turned on by being, wooed and spoiled by like a really rich guy. Okay. But just taming a guy, destroying him, bringing him to his knees, and dominating him is not sexy. It's the opposite of sexy. So I have no idea like why he's talking about that. So yeah. What are you guys' thoughts? What do you guys thought? Vampire, pirate, surgeon, billionaire, werewolf, and Beauty and the Beast, taming the man, taming the beast. Do you guys honestly think that's what female sexual fantasies are all about? All right. Let's see what you guys think. Um. So Ronan Bruss says, "What was the book?" It's called A Billion Wicked Thoughts. I want to read it. I haven't read it, but I did read an article where they showed little, not screenshots, but photographs of the pages that the vampire surgeon billionaire thing was taken from. So I thought that was pretty good proof. All right. Let's see what you guys are saying here. Um. All right. If you guys don't have any thoughts on that, I'll just start answering some other questions. Okay, cool. So this person whose name looks like maybe in Russian or something says, "Hi Victoria, I'm Daniel. Are you going by any chance to release your product like a course or tutorial? I'll definitely buy one because I need structured information in one place. Thank you." Thank you so much, Daniel. I really appreciate you asking that. I have been thinking about it, so hopefully I will. So then Trey says, "Why do women end up cheating on their boyfriend? What drives women away to cheat on men?" Um, okay, well, I could think of a couple reasons. Um, Number one, if the man isn't satisfying her emotionally, like she married this kind of like alpha guy who has nice alpha qualities, but he has no understanding of women's needs, no understanding of how to connect with her on a deep level, she's going to end up feeling extremely unfulfilled. And that will leave a big gaping hole, if you will, for somebody who can give her, who can speak to her connection and, romance and intimacy to move in because that's a really powerful need for women, which men often don't understand. And they think like women should just be satisfied, like kind of with the lifestyle a man is satisfied with. Like when a woman comes to him with her problems, a man often thinks that he could just say like, you know, just 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 move on, get over it. And that's going to be satisfying. It's not. They need empathy, they need understanding. And so that can cause one to become very unsatisfied and looking for some kind of deeper connection with someone else. And sometimes that's a powerful enough need that they will cheat because it's a very, very strong need. I don't know if you guys have seen this interesting video, but I recently, my friend, he sent it to me. And the guy was basically saying that romance was invented in medieval times by men because they were trying to basically exploit this very powerful natural need that women have for romance. I mean, it wasn't developed yet, is what his thesis was, but basically they understood this need of women, and men decided like, okay, I can work with that. I can give them that. Whereas before, women were just going for like rich guys, and then these poor guys figured out, well, if I give them their romantic needs, I can steal them away from the rich guys. I thought it was very interesting, and it speaks to what I'm talking about. That you know, if you can speak to her emotionally and form a deep connection when she's kind of already sick of like the Chad alpha dude, that can cause someone to cheat. That's one reason. Thank you so much. Be what it is 707. I really appreciate your tip. You are awesome. Be what it is. Thank you. So he says, lots of girls and their friends came to the docks in my privateering days. They all want to tame the beast. Privateering, what is that exactly? Kind of feel dumb. I don't know that. I just forgot. What is privateering? So let me know be what it is, or yeah. But I guess you are agreeing that women do want to tame the beast. Do they want to tame the beast though, be what it is, or did they want to get with the beast? Did they want to sleep with the beast? Did they want to be tamed by the beast? Now that is a female sexual fantasy. I said what I said. Truth bomb right there. B. Smith, privateer is a pirate. Right. I should have known that. Great point. Um, so Thomas Barron says, Victoria, is female arousal largely reactive? In other words, if a woman is going about her day not being horny and a good looking guy flirts with her, will she feel aroused as a reaction to the, I'm guessing, attention, Thomas Barron? So I'm trying to understand your question. So she's not horny, but then a good looking guy flirts with her. Will she feel aroused? Not sure like I fully understand the question because it's like, yeah, I mean, she could, it's possible, yeah. I mean, it's not like a given. And I don't know, like, I feel like it's more like how easily does she get aroused? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, how high is her sex drive? How easy is it to make her aroused? Like, in women's terms, they say like how strong are your brakes and how strong is like the gas pedal. Like some women are just going to become very easily aroused because they got a high sex drive. They easily get horny. So some women, it's maybe they'll be receptive to the good looking guy, but they're not necessarily going to feel horny. Do you know what I mean? They're not just going to feel like, oh my God, like I'm like consumed by like sexual desire, whatever. So yeah, is that kind of what you mean, Thomas? Maybe you could just like explain a little more if I got like what you're getting at. I don't know. So let's see if be what it is said anything else here. Um, so Austin, you like the YouTube title? Okay, well, I kind of just explained my rant on that, so hopefully, I don't have to repeat that one. Um, okay. KO, you asked a really good question, KO. Great question. Um, Ted Bradley says, "Can you make your live from like 2 lives ago public so I can watch it? I'm trying to keep up with your content, but it's getting hard." I put it on like unlisted, so you should still be able to watch it if I think you follow, like you got like notifications from me or whatever. But if you really want to see it, you could just email me and I could link it to you, Ted. I don't really think you need to like watch all my lives, but thanks. So then J.B. Weld said Ovid and the Romans and the Greeks before them came up with romance. Great point, J.B. Weld. You're right. Where did this guy get off saying it was only from the medieval times? I didn't know why he was saying that, but like, you're right. That's a great point. Like Plato's Symposium. It's kind of like all about the art of romance. So let's see. The monastery says if women have a sex drive, then is it a reactive sex drive? Okay, so I don't really know because I have a sex drive and I don't really know the definition of reactive sex drive, but does my sex drive like only happen in response to, let's say, a guy flirting with me? No. Like I have a sex drive and it just comes kind of like out of the blue. And I'm just kind of like, I want to have sex. Like I need to have sex tonight or something like that. So women have sex drives that are like that. Not every woman has a really high sex drive like that, though. Some women, as they always say, like they have responsive desire, which is maybe what you're talking about by reactive sex drive, which is that basically it's going to take them a long time to get warmed up, is basically what that means. And they're going to have like sexy things happening to them. I mean, it's not really that crazy because it's like the way most men like try to have sex with women, it's not necessarily very sexy to women after a while. It's kind of like that video of the runway I was talking about. It's like to just kind of go 0 to 100, it gets irritating. It gets annoying because women's bodies literally need to be warmed up. It's kind of like I was describing it the other day. It's like a switchboard, okay? And certain lights are like coming on board. So they're going to need you to turn them on in the way they like. Like if you just make some gross out joke and tear your clothes off and be like, "Look at my dick, ha 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 ha," and then be like, "You ready for some sexy time, sexy lady?" And just be kind of like weird and gross and just say like, "Okay, get on the bed, let me stick it in. Oh, I'm done." Like it's not going to turn her on and she's not going to get warmed up. So I think that's really what people mean by like responsive desire because most women don't even like understand that they're not supposed to just get instantly turned on. So they're like, "Oh, it's so weird. I wonder why it takes me a while to get turned on. Like that's not normal." I'm like, "Yeah, it's normal because things that guys do are not necessarily sexy to women. They don't understand women, they don't understand the female gaze. And so women are going to have responsive desire. In other words, they're going to respond to stuff they find sexy. And if you're not doing it, they're not going to respond. But on the other hand, some women have a super high sex drive and they're just going to get horny out of the blue and they're just going to be like, "Ah, fuck it. I don't care if he's doing the right thing. I just want to have sex." Okay. It's more rare though. That's actually quite rare. If you read the book, it's not totally rare, but it's just like less than 25% of women have that. According to this book, Come As You Are, which is kind of like the book about responsive sexual desire, which I've read and it sucks, but yeah. So Edgar Heredia says, so it's like warming up an engine then. Yeah, it is like warming up an engine. Unless for some reason the engine is already like really warmed up. But that's more unusual. And especially in a kind of like long-term relationship, it's kind of getting to be a bit harder, you know? So yeah. Walt says, isn't orchestra composer sexy? I honestly think an orchestra composer is really sexy. So KO says, yeah, Victoria, when you think of sexy, what comes to mind? Kind of like if I say, I don't think of an elephant, you're going to think of an elephant, lol. Oh, okay, I see what you're saying, I think. So you're kind of saying, like, you're going to tell me, what do you think of sexy? And whatever comes to mind, that's kind of like the thing I'm trying not to say or whatever. I just want to, like, because it could be like a complicated topic. So I don't know if I should go into it right now, KO, but let me just think about that for a second. What, okay, so what do you think of sexy? What comes to mind? Okay. Couple things come to mind, KO. And it's okay. Let me get back to that for 1 second. I'm gonna say thank you so much again to Be What It Is 707. He says, taming the beast is being tamed by the beast. Oh, taming the beast is being tamed by the beast. Master is slave, and slave is master. Wow. Very, very zen. I like it. I'm gonna have to think about that one, Be What It Is. Oh, wow. Taming the beast is being tamed by the beast. Master is slave, and slave is master. All right, guys, help me interpret this one. Be What It Is. You might have to break it down for me because this is deep. This is deep. So, okay. All right. Hello, Alexandru. Hello, Greg Anderson. Okay. JB Weld says, if you go after a woman in a relationship, it's 1 versus 1. If you go after a single girl, it's 1 versus 1,000. Saw it on a meme. Huh. Interesting. Hello, Rip Van Winkle. Okay, you guys are asking great questions, right? Gotta like focus in on one, all right? All right. Ronan Bro. Thank you so much, Ronan, for your tip. And he asks, best book related to your outlook on women. Okay. I have a couple recommendations. I've probably recommended most of these to you guys before on this channel. Okay. Let's start with the first one. It's about it's called A Lover's Pinch. I'll just yeah. I made like an Amazon store with like my recommendations, so I should just link that in the chat for you guys. But basically, the one I was going to recommend is first A Lover's Pinch, A Cultural History of Sadomasochism, because basically that explains kink. And to understand women, in my opinion, you need to understand kink and you need to accept kink. And you need to understand that it's normal and that people who say one thing in public are fantasizing about something else in private. And I think that can help you like most with women. Like if men really understood what women are fantasizing about, like you guys are all holding back. And yeah, I know you have to hold back in public because yeah, me too. And you don't want to get thrown in jail. Good. Do not do this without consent. However, how do I say this, guys? Let's just say they want what you're holding back often with consent. So that book can help you understand kink. This isn't a book, but I recommend you guys go on FetLife and look at women's profiles because they're being honest about what they find sexy on there. If you look at the fetishes lists of most women, just click on like random women on there and get a sense of what their fetishes are. And I think that will help a lot of you guys to understand what women are fantasizing about because they're listing it on their profile, what they're into, and a lot of it is quite similar. A lot of it is the same. Okay. So that's really important to know too. That's kind of like the key to a lot of sexual stuff, in my opinion. Then I read a really good book lately that I thought was like some really good basic stuff. I agree with mostly everything. It's called, why am I blanking on the title? Hold on, guys, one second. All right. Here, I'm looking at my books list. I have books I think everyone should read. Okay. All right. So I'll just list them off for you guys. Um, Actually, I'll just put this link in the chat. I can just go through them for you guys. This first book, The Heart of Dominance, which I think everyone should read, it just has really good tips about like how to actually be dominant from a long term, from a like a 30-year or 40-year like professional dominant. It's really good. This book, Rebel Love, it's really good. Kind of teaches you how to have a sex positive attitude when it comes to sex in a way that is so different from like anything out there on the web. That's like really powerful. A Lover's Pinch, that's the book I was telling you about, A History of Kink. Um, this book, Kenya K. Stevens, Change Your Man, it's a book written for women, but I think it explains like the female blind spots because it's explaining female blind spots to women in an extremely amazing way. So I feel like this can really help you understand what women are thinking and why they're acting the way they're acting. So I like that book a lot. And this is a book I was trying to remember, Best She Ever Had, by Andrew Miak. It's just some really good basic attitude stuff for men, which I thought would be really helpful for a guy. I really liked it. I agreed with almost everything he said in there. Then this book, The Myth of Sex Addiction, this just it's kind of boring, but it's really powerful at the same time because it just breaks down like the difference between male sexuality and female sexuality. I feel like it will just clear things up for you guys so much. Mode One by the late great Alan Roger Curry. That's just a great book. I would read it. Intimate Connections by David Burns. It's good for men. It's really good. I love him. When Panic Attacks, that's just good for mindset, becoming confident, getting rid of anxiety, feeling good, cured me of my horrible depression, feeling great, his latest techniques. And the last one I have on there is Owned and Owner, which I recommended to you. That is a very, very raw, very, very intense, submissive to the max on all levels, female fantasy by a woman that can kind of help you guys, I feel like, readjust your beliefs. So, yeah. What books do you guys recommend? Like, what are the best books you've read? Bluefig says, "This is some amazing information. Thank you, Victoria." Oh, yay, Bluefig. I'm so glad you like it. Shepo62 read that one. It's science fiction. Owner and owned and owner. Yeah, it is science fiction. You're right. Um, yeah, I wanted to read that book, Francisco Models by Mark Manson. Mind Warlock says, owned and owner has given me a lot of ideas and I have put them into practice. Great fun with your girlfriend, Mind Warlock, or wife. And what does she think of them? Like, can you give us any thoughts? Because, yeah, that book could give you a lot of ideas. Because, like I said, it's basically maxing out on every, like, possible, like, submissive level. So it can give you a lot of ideas. I agree, Mind Warlock. And yeah, I'm wondering like how is this person who you're putting them into practice with responding? Oh, he says, I interact with many submissives. Okay, Mind Warlock, that's awesome. So, so is this a book, Shepo 62, Female Sexuality Wrong? Um, Dan Clark says, hey, just recently found these and I found them very helpful. Thank you. Oh, thanks, Dan Clark. Hello, Anjay. It's all on a whim says, yes, kink. What about it? It's all on a whim. I agree with you though, I'm sure. So, okay. So KO says, honestly, I don't see what attracts women to men, and it's funny. Everyone has a hard time explaining it when it's so easy for men. Draw two circles in a triangle, we're happy, lol. Yeah, KO, that's what I always say to my boyfriend too. I'm like, why don't I just like draw two circles for you? Because like it's that simple. Yeah. He laughs, but it's like, honestly, I feel like he would be attracted to like this. This is like a ponytail. Or like, I think if I showed him this, he'd be like, wow, I love it. So, yeah. Um, yeah, I mean, I guess when you put it that way, like it is more complicated than that, yeah. That's so hot, well, exactly, KO. What about like these circles? You attracted? So, yeah. I'll tell you guys, it's right. It's men are attractive. They're very attractive. It's just you're right. It's a bit more complicated for the woman to like let down her guard and just have sex with all the people she's attracted to, basically. Like that's just so much harder for a woman for so many reasons, which I've gone into in some of my videos. But that doesn't mean she's not attracted. Is she actually going to consummate it and have sex with you? That's going to take more to pass like the threshold. But could she find things about you attractive? And she's not even saying it. 100% guaranteed, in my opinion. Well, not like every single guy, but like many guys you would never expect in a million years. So yeah. Um so BG says, what's your opinion on autistic girls' sexuality, hyposexuality, and paraphilias? I don't really know, BG, because like I'm not autistic. I don't know, maybe you guys would disagree, but hyposexuality, so that means like low sexual desire, right? And paraphilias, that's like fetishes. I mean, I could definitely talk about paraphilias. I don't really understand too much about hyposexuality. I do understand a lot about hypersexuality. But yeah. So Ronan Bro says a lot of red pill content creators ripped off the great Tom Hodges. That's interesting. I'll check that out. I like to go to the primary source, so let me just copied and pasted that into a new tab. So then Chaos says, yeah, so like what do you think of warriors or construction workers, vampires, kings? All right. Warriors, I think basically every single girl, that's kind of like the main, like if you had to just talk about like one profession that like basically all women are going to be drawn to, I'd say it's a warrior, war hero, that kind of thing. Yeah. So warriors, that's what a lot of romance novels are about, warriors, you know what I'm saying? Construction workers, they're good. They're hot because they kind of just radiate like masculine. It's such like a masculine career. Do you know what I mean? So it's like that polarity, if you will. It's hot, it's attractive. It's very like sexually charged because they're just like so full of like male sexuality. And it's kind of like the sexually charged scenario, you know, when like a woman walks by a construction site and they all like whistle or whatever. So it retains like a lot of sexual appeal. Vampires, honestly, I've never been that into vampires. However, I could see like the appeal of Edward in Twilight, who kind of started the vampire craze, because he's kind of like the ultimate Chad Uber Dom. You know what I'm saying? It's not the fact that necessarily he's a vampire, but I mean, I guess it doesn't hurt that the way vampires are supposedly like incredibly beautiful, so they're incredibly good looking, so that helps, doesn't it? And then and also they're like ageless, or rather, you know, 10,000 years old or whatever. So that means they're like incredibly knowledgeable and competent and smarter than you, which again is kind of attractive because it's like he is kind of like a dom because he basically should be the one in control because he knows everything. Like, how can you measure up? So it's kind of like a very dom type of thing. And then kings, I don't know. Kings, I mean, they're attractive in a way, right? Because it's like they got all the power. They got their pick of like the best looking women in the land. So if the king picks you, it's kind of like kind of hot. But and there's a lot of weird kings out there, like in history, is there not? So I don't know if they'd all be kind of attractive, but there'd definitely be like some cachet and be picked by the king. So, um, oh, thanks for recommending all these books, guys. I'm gonna have to look at this after and like copy and paste some of these and look them up. Um, Ronan Bro says he wrote that book back in the 1980s, way before Rollo Tomassi and the Mystery Method. That's cool. That's cool. He was a pioneer, it seems like, Ronan. Um, okay. Let's see. Ronan Bro says the book 50 Shades of Grey copied Histoire Storyville. Let's just say that. So, not really. I mean, they're pretty different. I mean, they're both about like BDSM, but I mean, kink was around long before the story of O, long before 50 Shades of Grey. That's why I think you guys should read that book about the history of kink, so you can understand how this has been around like for as long as we've been documenting things, basically. Well, no, it hasn't. It wasn't like documenting the earliest possible book, but it's been around thousands of years. So, um, Goku with the Hellcat look now says, "What do you think about bouncers?" Bouncers, they can be good in a way. They can be a bit sexy, but kind of like seem a bit like low status at the same time. You know what I mean? So it's maybe not like the sexiest profession, but they have a lot of like just kind of masculinity and as well. And they kind of have this thing of like picking you, out of the line. So it can be a kind of good in a way. But yeah, I don't really think 50 Shades of Grey like has almost any overlap with Story of O besides like the domination stuff. Uh, so A. Katsuki says, "How much do you think that the manly mindset can change someone's life? I'm having a bad time even having a good appearance overall. Do you think that is what lacks? I hope that this makes a good change." I think it could be absolutely huge, A. Katsuki, because I actually like this is kind of like the number one thing that's been just percolating in my mind, like having this channel is basically just all the what I like to call beta attitudes that guys have, which are really just like a it's kind of like a tell that they're not doing well with women in the first place. And if a man were to say any of these attitudes to a woman, it would repulse her instantly. But then it's like really scary how many men have these attitudes. So I think it could be absolutely huge. Um, so yeah. Is there like a specific mindset that you think could be holding you back? Because I could think of many that could be holding you back. So yeah, I definitely think it can make a huge difference. Huge difference. Like just a example, just that comes to mind is a lot of guys um really have this like attitude of men are the prize, she has to chase me. And while I think there's some truth to that, like for example, you shouldn't like for example, men are the prize. I mean, you guys are the prize in some ways. Women are attracted to men. Women do want to like land a man who they're into and kind of like sign the marriage contract ultimately with the man of their dreams. So yeah, you guys are the prize. You are powerful and sexy. So, but the attitude of men are the prize can just come off as like very beta, and it can come off as very feminine, you might say, to women, because one of women's biggest desires is to be kind of like wooed and picked. And yeah, I'm not saying they want it from any guy. They don't want it. They want it from kind of like a cool guy. Okay. But they might think you're a cool guy. They might think, yeah, he passes the threshold for looks. He's a good looking guy. He seems confident enough. Yeah, let me give him a chance. And then you have this like men are the prize attitude where you don't reach out, you don't initiate. If she gets mad, you wait for her to apologize and come to you, and you try to like basically just break her and get her to kind of like humble herself and come to you. Well, many women just aren't going to break. Like they have too many options. And I don't know. That can just be really bad. I've seen it lots of times. Guys just trying way too hard to be aloof, seem like the prize, seem kind of like, they got to make women work for it. And it just backfires because the women are just like, I can't do this. Like, I'm not interested. I'm not feeling a spark. Because so many women want to feel pursued, to feel, yeah. I mean, that's just like one example. So, whatever. Bluefix says, I agree, Victoria. Men can think they're the prize, but voicing it comes off as beta. Great point, Bluefig. Yeah, exactly. Voicing some of these attitudes comes off as very beta. Like, for example, even talking about dominance. If you voice how dominant you are, it does come off as very beta. It comes off as insecure posturing. You know what I'm saying? Like, for example, Andrew Tate. He comes off as very beta. He comes off as insecure. However, maybe you could learn some things from Andrew Tate, keep it to yourself, don't bring it up to women, and incorporate them into your own approach. You know what I'm saying? But certain things like that, voicing it, it's just instantly repulsive. It's just instantly disgusting, to be honest. So little things like that can absolutely repel women. Rex Mundi says subcommunication is the word for these things. Don't voice any of this. Great. I like that. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Subcommunication. Very interesting, Rex. You don't want to voice it. Yeah. You don't want to voice that you're dominant, that you're superior to her, that you're, more knowledgeable than her, that she should like make you a sandwich, that she should come to you. No, you want to just be really like nurturing, but at the same time, you might want to keep it on the inside just a little bit. Bluefix says, any man who has to say, I'm the king is no king 100%. That's the attitude you want to have. Yeah, you want to have that attitude of like the true leader who everyone just recognizes is the leader because he doesn't brag and he isn't arrogant, but he just kind of like radiates like wisdom. So people respect him. Yeah. JC Neo says, interesting. Like you all show, it's more nuanced. Show it, be the predator, make her feel the prey, all in an awesome way. Yeah, like you kind of could do that as long as you're not, talking about it. Like basically every guy on my channel. Not you guys. Not you guys. I found on TikTok, but anyway, a lot of guys. Whatever. Munir says, Andrew Tate doesn't come off as beta. He plays a role in line. Well, he does come off as beta, in my opinion. So, Bimmer Wan says, who would want to be the king when you can be the jester? Yeah. The jester's an option as well. I've heard this term jester maxing, right? Like that's kind of like an insult to tell guys to jester max. Pretty funny. Munir says, as a man has to exude dominance by nature and not overplay it. I like how you put that. Not overplay it. Very good. I like that. Dev says, so in your mind, should all men be alpha dom and never beta? No. Okay, guys. This video, you might want to see if you haven't. Alpha in Love. It explains the two necessary pieces that really form like the ultimate dream for women. Okay, the alpha qualities, that comes first. That's step one, guys. Because women want to pick an alpha guy to fall in love with. And he doesn't have to be alpha, like, in some obvious way. He could just be, high status, he could be cool, he could have really good social skills, but they wanna pick a guy who they find, like, attractive and cool, who has kind of like a backbone, alpha in that way. But then they want that guy to have the soft skills to be able to emotionally connect with her on a deep level as well. So you could call those beta qualities, right? But it's just like you can't just be beta and just be like buying her flowers and wanting to connect with her and have no alpha qualities because she just won't want to date you. She won't want to be in love with you. You need to work on your alpha qualities first. Those are harder. Those are like the masculinity sides. It's more difficult to develop because it's kind of like not even really taught in this day and age much, it seems. I don't really know because I'm not a man, but that's kind of what you guys tell me. So it's more difficult to learn those kinds of things, but that's really the most important because women are going to be selecting from that group and hoping those guys have the beta qualities, the ability to connect with her emotionally, fall in love. So I think you guys need both skills. However, I think it's easier for many guys to develop those beta skills and harder to develop the dom skills. And then in addition to kind of like the alpha qualities of just like, whatever, you should literally develop good dom skills because those are separate, because those are kind of like in a sexual setting, in bed. You kind of want to be able to level it up, take it up a notch if the girl's into that, which many are. Not all, but many. So, yeah. You can be beta, but you have to also be alpha to be successful. BG says, Alpha in Love was in my YouTube feed, and then I saw it your live streaming, so I popped in. Very cool, BG. What did you think of the video? I'm scared, but let me have it. Kale says, Victoria, can you tell us about a date you went on, like your story with your friend, and you wanted him to get angry, and the date led to a hookup, and you really had fun? Okay, so sure, why not? I'll probably have to delete this live though after. Okay, so that video where I talked about that, we didn't like hook up right after that, but basically that was a guy who basically okay, this guy, he was shorter than me. He had really amazing social skills. We went on a date. We connected amazingly well. Like we were just having like the best conversation. I started becoming like very attracted to him, even though when I had first seen him, I was kind of like, oh God, like he's so much shorter than me. Like great. And he even said that I kind of had like a disappointed look when I first saw him, which I really felt bad about. But then like his skills on the date were just so good. And like I was just having like a really good time with him on the date. After the date, like we kissed and everything. I kept seeing him. I really liked him. We hooked up, we had sex. But as this continued, I just realized that he wasn't giving me a masculine vibe. He was never complimenting me. He was never giving to me. He always wanted things to be kind of like equal. He was always kind of like, oh, like, why don't you come over to my place? He was never kind of like generously offering to kind of like provide and take care of me in a way like my boyfriend now just naturally is like that. He just has this really like masculine, generous side to him where he's just kind of like, yeah, of course I'm gonna like come pick you up at the airport. And yeah, of course I'm gonna like drive you where you want to go. Or, of course I'm gonna like fix the tire for you, princess. Like he just basically acts like that. And it's really attractive. And he's just really like complimentary and appreciative. Not appreciative, but just like really complimentary. And this guy, he wasn't like that. And I started realizing I cannot be with this guy. Like I cannot date a guy like this. Like he's just so closed off. I just can't live like with no kind of like words of affirmation or compliments, basically. So I friend zoned him. I said, like, this just isn't gonna work, basically. But we can be friends. I thought he would just not want to be friends, but he stayed friends with me. And we were like close friends for a while after that because I really liked him. But I was kind of always noticing this guy is like too beta. Like I really like him, but I just wish he could like step up. I wish he could understand that his attitudes and his kind of like desire for like total equality and desire for like the girl to basically like be the man in the relationship is just turning me off. Like I can never be with a guy like this. And so secretly I was kind of always wishing, I'm like, if this guy just like understood how to like man up, but he won't. That's just not who he is. That's not who he is today. But one time he got like really angry at me because I was kind of just like, "Oh, can you come over here or something?" And he was like, "I'm not your fucking boyfriend." And he got like really intense and angry. And I remember getting like turned on. I was just like, "That's what I'm fucking talking about." You know what I'm saying? Why can't you do a little more of that? And like your problems will be solved, basically. Because that's the kind of like attitude. And I'm not saying I wanted him to like boss me around or get angry at me, but it's kind of like that backbone and that masculinity. I wanted him to be more like that in general. Not yelling at me, but just more of a man and less of kind of like, oh, just why can't women ever like cater to me and come to my place and ask me questions? And it was just very like he really wanted like total equality. And that's fine, but it's not sexy in a relationship for most women. It's really not sexy. They want to feel like a woman. They want to feel submissive sometimes, not all the time. Well, some do. But you can't really feel like that with a guy like that. So does that make sense, guys? Okay. Uh I hope that makes sense. And AA Katsuki, I will get to your question next. Thank you so much. I just want to finish this one thing. Okay. Let me just see if you guys understand what I'm saying. And then I'm just going to contrast this really quick to my boyfriend now. Okay. Because my boyfriend now is like extremely, like, he has no problem like embodying like these masculine traits. Our very first date, he kind of like showed that to me, and I was wowed. I was like stunned. Like my mind was literally blown. Like I honestly felt like I was having like a mind gasm. It was like stunning. And hopefully that helps you guys. Okay. And that kind of shows you guys why these beta traits, some women can never be with you if you hold them. They just never will. Do you guys get it? Hello, Paul. He says, indeed, def makes sense. Okay, Francisco, I'm glad you like that. Thank you so much. So, AA Katsuki says, can you name the most important things that a man that is starting to develop himself must learn to become very sexually interesting to women? Help me. Oh God, AA Katsuki, great question, great question. Okay. So you're just starting to develop himself. And what do you have to learn to become very sexually interesting to women? Help me. Okay. Well, there's kind of like a lot of stuff, isn't there? All right. Let's just start listing some. Okay. So, first thing you can do is you can work on your look. Okay. You're probably young, so you probably don't have like the problems of maybe someone who's like aging a lot, right? So, you can really work on your style. You can work on Basically looking cool and fashionable. Okay, that can take just like an average guy, it can make him in a woman's mind look really high status in a way, make him look cool. But you have to be really careful because you have to get like the right style. Like I have this friend and he's trying to like make his like clothing better and stuff. However, he's kind of like choosing very like feminine, flashy clothes that are kind of like flashy, and I feel like he thinks that's what's gonna attract women, is if he like kind of peacocks or whatever and like draws attention to himself. But I think it would be much better if you guys just like dressed in a very modern and fashionable style that like the top male influencers are dressing in, who are dating the kind of women that you want to date. You know what I'm saying? Like if you want to date some like travel blogger, look at her boyfriend and see what he dresses like, because she's probably dressing him in the way that she most wants a guy to be dressed, because that's actually what girls do. As soon as they get a boyfriend, they're like, I'm going to give you a makeover and make you into the type of guy I would think is sexy if like he approached me. Do you know what I'm saying? So working on your style is huge. Like women are into style, they're into aesthetics, they're into fashion because they have to be. So they're going to notice that. And if you're just wearing like a very unfashionable outfit, you look low status in a way and you look kind of like uncool. So that's huge, okay? That's just like an external looks thing. Okay, and then, like maybe try to get like a good haircut too. Okay, so that's like some basic stuff, right? For looks. But now like mindset, let's say, okay, well, it's important to start trying to get a good career in a way. Um Ultimately like you want that. Ultimately like women will find that attractive, okay? But then kind of like your attitude wise, you want to start trying to develop some like good masculine qualities, like some good social skills, maybe even get like coaching in social skills that could really help. Um, you want to basically stop being a people pleaser. That can really help because that can kind of like make women see you as like you have a backbone, like you're a man, you're not like a sub, basically. So, kind of like getting out those people pleasing qualities. Another thing that can help is like getting rid of too much anxiety. Okay. I have lots of different anxieties about this and that. So I know it's not easy to get rid of anxiety, but it's definitely possible. Like I have gotten rid of a lot of anxieties through exposure and CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, and all that. So you really want to project like an air of calm masculinity, basically, being calm, it's really important. It's like literally when I used to go on dates, the very first thing I would sense, literally within minutes, maybe even seconds, if a guy was basically nervous and he had kind of like that people pleaser edge, you could kind of like smell it. Not literally smell it, but it's just kind of in like little micro behaviors, and it all added up to the sense like this guy is too beta. This guy is too submissive. He has these little submissive gestures. Okay? And like I said in some of my videos, like the girl wants to be with someone who can play that dominant role for her. And dominant doesn't mean like punching someone in the face or choking them, guys. It just means like being like calm, strong masculinity. Like dog whisperer, calm, dominant energy, if you know that kind of thing. So that's really important to just get rid of nervousness and anxiety and your people pleasing tendencies. Okay. And then finally, sexually, guys, I would start studying kink. Take like kink 101 education classes. You can learn like rope. A lot of girls are into that. Okay. Or you can just try to become as comfortable as you can being a little bit dominant and aggressive in the bedroom. However, you have to do it consensually, meaning she has to basically express that she likes it. You guys have to talk about it, and then you can try it. However, that's gonna do wonders for your sex life. And that would be a really good start. Okay? So, did that help AA Katsuki? Any other thoughts from you guys? Like stuff you've done that's really helped? And if you can learn how to flirt and like tease a girl, that would be really good too. And also, here's one more little tidbit: give specific compliments about things that aren't simply about her beauty, but also about her personality, her style, her hobbies, her interests. That can work wonders. And don't forget to sometimes express, damn, you're fucking sexy. You're gorgeous. Oh my God, I just want to like grab you. You're so sexy. That's important too. You want both. You want the kind of like platonic compliments that's just like you're fascinating in this specific way. And you never want her to forget that you think she's sexy and you want to have sex with her. However, don't bring that up right at the start when you're on an online dating app. Okay. JG, thank you so much. He says, what is so appealing to women in male attention? Validation, approval, self worth. Also, can women sense self confidence? I played excellent golf yesterday and girls were checking me out after. Okay, so I will answer the second question first. So he says, can women sense self confidence? So I would say more like if you played excellent golf and the girls were checking you out after, I would say it's more that they like winners. They like kind of like the quarterback on the football team. You know what I'm saying? They like someone who's like really athletic and does it well. So I feel like if you win golf, they're kind of like getting this like submissive feeling. It's like this guy is like an alpha, basically. I mean, to put it in these terms. It's like, for example, for me, like it's sexy, like let's say like there's a contest and the guy wins, that's sexy. Sorry, but it is. Like let's say some guys are playing poker. Whoever wins the poker match is sexy. It's like just that in itself is a turn on. So I don't feel like it's necessarily that you won, so you felt self-confident because like you're like, yay, like I did so good. And then they sensed your self-confidence. I feel like it's more that they saw you win and then they're like, however, maybe they didn't see you win. Maybe they didn't even know you won and you just had confidence because you won. Okay. So in that situation, could they sense self-confidence? Yeah, I think they can. They can. Like, I mean, that's kind of like the number one thing girls say they're attracted to, confidence, and you can sense it. It's kind of like it think it like changes like those micro like behaviors. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's kind of like these little like facial movements and stuff that suggest confidence that also can be attractive. So yeah, I guess I revised what I was saying because I mean what I said first makes sense, but I agree. If you suddenly are just feeling really self-confident, could a girl like sense it? I think like they will be attracted to self-confidence in some respect, like no matter what. Like my sister, God, I hate to bring this up. I saw like this guy she dated when she was younger. He was very, very self-confident to the point of arrogance, to the point of like disgusting arrogance. He wasn't even good looking, but he was very arrogant. And I knew that's what she saw in him. That's why she liked him. That's why she was with him. It was that self-confidence alone that drew her to him that she found attractive. So, yeah, it's always going to be attractive. And then The next question, what is so appealing to women in male attention? So, all right, like I kind of want to ask you just like what specific scenario are you thinking of? Because I feel like a lot of guys, when they talk about that, they're like, why are women always dressing sexy for like male attention and like posting sexy selfies on social media? So is that what you mean? Or do you just mean like what is so appealing to women when a guy is giving them attention, like on a date, in a relationship, kind of like sexually, like admiring them. So could you just clarify for me, JG, which situations you're referring to? So, okay, so he says, I watched a movie and a woman said she went out for attention. Okay. Yeah. So basically, like maybe like she's going to a club for like male attention kind of thing. Let's just, if you don't say yes or no, I'll just assume that. But yeah, like I used to feel that a lot. Like, I think it's just kind of a result of, okay, yes, exactly. Yeah. Like that's what I would like to do. I used to like go out, I used to like feel the need, like to go out to a club every single weekend, like as much as possible because I wanted to basically like interact with men and I wanted male attention. Yeah, in that sense. So why? It's basically because they have a sex drive. Like that's what it feels like when you get turned on. Like when I get turned on, it's like all of a sudden I want to start showing off like for a guy. Basically, that's kind of like what it feels like when I get turned on. So I think that's really what it is. It's like the female sex drive. You get turned on and you start feeling like really sexy, basically. Okay. And then you start feeling like I want someone to admire me, basically. I need an admirer. I need a watcher. Like, I'm just going to waste away. I'm going to shrivel up in my room if no one like sees how beautiful I am. So then, like, you go out to a club, basically, and all these guys are like staring at you. Okay. They're just like looking at you like they just saw it's like, they're doing like a double take, a car is screeching, they're picking you out of the line and saying like, "Come into the club." They're mesmerized. Um, and it just feels like, well, at least it used to feel like for me, just kinda like, "Yeah, that's right, that's right. Like, that's what I deserve. I'm the best. I look the best. I feel the best." This is kinda like the feeling inside. And you just kinda feel like good. Like you're just it's kind of like you're just reeling them in. It's almost like this evolution, let's say it's like the evolutionary drive to like find the alphas and then like make one fall in love with you. It's like you're just reeling them all in. Okay? And then you got your pick and then you can kind of like mess with them and play with them a little bit. You can kind of like tease them and flirt with them and it's so easy. It's like you could just look at them and then like the one's just like walking up to you and it's just like, "Hey, who are you? Like what's your name? What's your ethnicity?" or whatever. Like it's fun. It's fun. And it feels good because it just feels like then you can be sexual and you have someone to be sexual with. Do you know what I mean? Because so it's like they need you feel like you need attention because it's like I need to attract a guy. I need to attract a man. Where are the men? Let me show off. Let me show out. I don't know. So that's and at the same time like you can feel really powerful. You can feel I don't know. I mean, personally, I kind of feel like it is your. it's like, I don't know, this might get a little like out there for you guys, but whatever. I guess it's my life. So basically, every woman like has a really powerful like sexual like erotic being inside of them that's like really larger than life, and it's like that wants to come out and it wants to be seen, it wants to get attention, it wants to like basically express itself and wants to have a mirror because the guys who are watching are just like, it's hot, it's really hot because the guys are just also, it brings out like their sexual energy. And that's attractive, that's what's attractive about like masculinity. It's sexy because it kind of like revs them up, it kind of like just riles them up so good, and then they're getting like really kind of like aggressive and dominant even, and it's sexy. So hopefully that made sense. JG, what do you think? Did I, maybe I just went off on a tangent, I don't know. So it's all on a whim. Now you are talking my non-leather life. Yep. Well, as you guys know, I wanted to be a stripper because kind of I just felt, I mean, there were different reasons, but one of them was like that was like a really deep need for me. Like I really felt, it's kind of like alpha submissive vibes in a way, but I just kind of felt like I need to basically show off how powerful like I am basically. So JG says excellent description, trying to write it all down. Okay, good, JG. JG, I've actually been compiling some questions for you for your book. So yeah, I still have to write you back. Yes, I know, my bad. But I have been writing down every time I have a question where I'm like, why do men do this? I write it down in my notes so I can ask you at some point. Anyway, so let's see. Um so let's see what Paul is saying. So he's saying, guys, remember, every woman is going to have her unique ignition points, but they are centered in the zone Victoria is describing. It is a need for intensity of energy. I like that, Paul. Very, very true. It functions on physical, verbal, and attitude. I agree. Your imagination should be fired up by your drive. Then just let your inner drive take over. That male animal is exactly what she needs. Yeah, like one of the coolest things about being a stripper and basically doing this for men is that you see, if you want to call it, the male animal come out. And it's their erotic energy, if you want to see it. And it's just magical. Like it's honestly magical. And I'm sure, like, even if you guys don't think you're doing well with women, okay, you're not getting dates, but your erotic energy is very magical quite often. Maybe not every single person works for every other single person, but many of you guys, the erotic energy is just an entity onto itself. It's truly mesmerizing, powerful, incredible, magical, amazing, stupendous. Yeah. So AA Katsugi says, do you think that watching your already posted videos, one can have enough knowledge to become a desired sexual man, or how much someone must go beyond? Well, no, I don't think like I've covered like every single aspect. I do feel like I've covered some big themes. You know what I'm saying? But it's like how to put those into practice. I'm not saying like some videos I have, they're kind of specific, like There's this one video that's not really as popular on my channel, but it's like 17 tests you must pass as a man. But that one has like a lot of real specifics for how to kind of like proceed on dates. So some of them are specific, but a lot of them I just try to talk about like kind of like the larger themes which you guys need to grasp. Like, for example, just the importance of like dominance for women and stuff like that. So I'm not saying a lot of people misinterpret that. A lot of people have different definitions of it. It's not very specific, but I feel like if you had like some knowledge, it might help crystallize things. So watch all the dating channels you want, you know what I'm saying? Read all the books. I'm not saying I've said everything there is to be said, you know what I mean? But I feel like I've covered some good larger themes. Um So Gabby N64 says, "On another life, do you think your motivation to go into stripping to show how powerful you are is a sign of Machiavellianism?" Not really. I don't, but however, my if you want to say like erotic energy, whatever, it does have a tiny bit of kind of like grandiosity. And when I do get turned on, I do kind of have like a superiority complex or something, like definitely a little narcissism in there. But, I feel like that's only really when I get really turned on. It's like this really powerful, like, instinct basically takes over me, and it is kinda narcissistic because it's very, like, very, very, very confident. It knows exactly what to say, it knows exactly what to do, and it feels like I'm the best, I'm better than you, I'm better than you, I'm better than you. So, yeah, it is narcissistic in a way, but it's not really me. It's, like, just some powerful instinct that takes over at the height of, like, sexual energy. And I just think it's hot, and it's interesting, and it's fun, but I don't feel like that means I'm on the cluster B spectrum or anything like that. So it's all on a whim. Say, my non-linear life, I always wonder, do strippers get hot, wet on stage? So first of all, it's really gonna depend because there's a lot of different types of women who are strippers, okay? Some women wanted to be strippers. It's more than you think, okay? Because a lot of people think, oh, it's just like something you do if you're like totally desperate for money. Not everyone who is a stripper was desperate for money, and that's the only reason why they're doing a job. Like, a lot of women grow up wanting to be strippers. I know it sounds crazy, but it's true. And that was kind of like how I was. I didn't grow up, but like the desire just overpowered me like later in life once I started pole dancing. But then there's a lot of women who are like lesbians. Okay, they don't even like men. They hate men. They're lesbians. Okay. Then there were a lot of women who are just doing it because like they're hot and they need money. And they're not very sexual, to be honest. Like they're not very sexual people. So they're really like performing feminine sexuality. They're not really getting turned on, okay? But some women actually really enjoy the job. And in that case, they probably wouldn't get wet just from performing. Maybe some do because they're more like exhibitionistic, but they could get wet basically during a lap dance if they're having like a really good connection with the guy. Like that's kind of how I was. It was more like the lap dances, like one-on-one stuff, and then maybe you would like still be wet on stage because it doesn't just like dry up instantly. Like you pretty much stay wet if you get wet for like a while. So, yeah. Red Dwarf says most strippers definitely are more sexual than average. I don't really agree with that, but it depends how you define sexual because they become more sexually empowered than average. But do they have like a higher sex drive than average? Um, Probably a little more than average, yeah, I'd say. But a lot of them, they don't like men. They're not very sexual, but some there's probably group of women there who are highly sexual, much more than average, hypersexual. Like when I was there, I was kind of surprised because I'm like, I never met any women with like as high a sex drive as me, but there's a lot here. So yeah. Eldura says, "What can I do if my girlfriend is a feminist?" I would learn about feminism and I would become a feminist yourself. I'm a feminist. I don't think I could date any guy who isn't understanding of feminism. So, BG says, "I always thought they don't even care about being naked and they're just after the money by any means necessary." Well, they're after the money because that's their job. So they're doing their job, but that doesn't mean like they couldn't get turned on. One second, guys. So, Just Got a Life says, "I have heard that strippers don't usually respond to less masculine men. They need some necessary roughness or more aggressive than usual for men to actually feel things." Um, I wouldn't call it like roughness, but like, I mean, I know that's how I was. Like, I needed kind of like a super masculine guy, in my opinion. I think that kind of has to do with like having like a really high sex drive, to be honest. Okay, hey Katsuki, yeah, you guys can feel free to go. I just kind of enjoy doing it, but I'm probably not going to post this live anyway, so. Lionheart says, "So theoretically, the woman could potentially have multiple connections in one night of lap dances." Yeah, I mean, I probably did about like 20 to 25, usually around 20 lap dances a night. So, yeah. And then like you talk to people all night as well. Paul says, "What you describe, your well understood perspective, I'm sure becomes clear, even vivid from the sheer power you tap into when you step out on stage. Adrenaline slash dopamine boost so you see men shine for you." Yeah, it helps because I have a high sex drive, so I'm kind of like sex nerd, so that helped when stripping because I actually liked it, and that's kind of like very lucrative. So, Lionheart says, "Believe it or not, I've taken a few dancers home from the clubs." Yeah, they definitely will date customers. They'll definitely go home with customers. Just God Life says, like, they are more likely to respond to a guy who has dark triads or whose professions include risky things. Like I said, that's kind of how I was. Like, after a while of being a stripper, I kind of could just, like, sense the alpha guys, like, and I just really crave that energy because you see a lot of like beta behavior in a strip club because, it's kind of like, as my friend was telling me, sent me this quote today, like, you're like the man because you're like flirting with the guys, you're complimenting the guys, you're kind of like initiating with the guys. And that's kind of like what you're there for. So the guys kind of seem like really feminine in a way because they seem really like weak, because they're really intimidated by you because they're just like, "Oh, wow." So it's really attractive when you can like be in the submissive role instead of the dominant role all the time. And you can be with a guy and do a lap dance for him who kind of acts dominant. But please don't get me wrong because it doesn't mean like being aggressive. It's just more a calm, masculine, dominant energy. It's a vibe. They're just sitting there, but it's just they're radiating kind of like it's kind of like let's say a guy's been in like the military, right? It's kind of like he's seen a lot, and he's kind of been like very like in a masculine like profession, right? He kind of has like a different vibe. Do you know what I mean? So that kind of vibe can be very attractive. Or like a guy who's in a rock band or something. I don't know. They just have like this lack of nervous people pleaser energy. And it becomes like you crave that. Like it's just like a drug you kind of need. And like when you're doing a lap dance for these guys, um, they kind of like dom you sometimes versus you doming them, so it's attractive. Paul says that sixth round on stage makes it a real rock show. I try to take that on stage whenever I get up, though I'm a rock drummer, not a dancer, at least professionally. Yeah, Paul, exactly. Like a rock star, they're doing the same thing like as a stripper, honestly. Like they have to let loose their erotic energy to make it seem like, just like the crowd like wants to see someone like being alive like that and just being free and letting loose and just being okay to be sexual and like fully in their authentic self that includes their sexuality and like their emotions and everything like we're just shut down and told like, oh, just be like a polite people pleaser and be all corporate. It's like people need to see someone like that, like their hero on stage just being free since they can't. So I kind of felt like that's kind of like what being a stripper was like too. It's just kind of showing like you don't have to be like in this sex negative box. Free and wild, exactly, Lionheart. So Sketchy Lip says, hey, the girl is attracted to me by the way I handled her rejection recently. Now how should I maintain her attraction to me? So can you fill us in, Sketchy Loop? Like, how did you handle it? Let us all know, because that's awesome. So Tan Nicolas says, are sigmas real or is it just made up? Personally, I feel like it's just great marketing. It's kind of made up because, correct me if I'm wrong, guys, because you guys probably know more about this than me. However, they kind of make like a false dichotomy because they're like alphas, they're really aggressive and they're like loud and angry. And then sigmas like don't need to be the center of attention and they're like very calm and confident and they're okay being by themselves and they're not like needing to be the center of attention. But it's like, okay, first of all, that's not how like I see alphas. Like you don't have to be loud and aggressive. That's one type of guy a woman could be attracted to. But among guys who, there's calm, confident guys who are introverts who are unattractive and some are attractive. So it's not just like, yay, we're super attractive. Women love sigmas. Do you know what I mean? So, Namesake 2000 says, it's fascinating to hear a woman speaking clearly and honestly about these things. One of the things I realized when I first dated, men know nothing about women, so take the time to find out. 100% Namesake 2000. Like, I did not know that, but now I'm seeing it more and more clearly that men are seeing like a false reality. They think women are a certain way, but women are not that way. They want women to be a certain way, but women are not that way. And it really just screws them up because they're like all confused. They're like, I don't understand. Why did she act like that way? Because it's like they're nothing like how you expect them to be. Like the reality of who a woman really is just doesn't come naturally to you, I guess. So you guys do have to learn. Yeah, 100%. And it's not just men. Women also know nothing about men. Nothing, guys. I was probably worse than you. I was clueless about men. I don't even know everything about men now, obviously, but I know a little bit more. Okay. But women know nothing about men know nothing about women. It's crazy. It is fucking crazy. So BG says, I've friend zoned a bunch of girls at the gym and you're convincing me to change that, to chance that. How will you be doing that, BG? Sounds good. Um okay. William Brown says, a friend was talking about Tony Robbins live, almost see-through clothing, jumping around, not shy about lots of energy. I'm not sure if that was I was referring to. You're saying like everyone at Tony Robbins live was wearing see-through clothing? I've heard that Tony Robbins is actually like where a lot of women go to date because a lot of them are like entrepreneurs and interested in personal growth and stuff. So if you're a woman who's interested in that too, like you go to all Tony Robbins events and hope to meet your partner. It's like I know a lot of women who met their partners doing that. Paul says that same energy on drums has to be released freely and freely given to the crowd. They respond in kind. Then it's a huge throwdown explosion of animal energy that communicates between audience and player. That's really cool, Paul. The might have sounded sarcastic, but I honestly think it's really cool. Bluefig says you're exactly right about it being a false reality. It's reinforced in all circles of society. So what do you mean by that, Bluefig? That's really interesting. It's reinforced in all circles of society. Like, how do you see that happening? That's cool. Yeah, like I'm really noticing that, like watching The Bachelor and all. I've seen like every. Well, I'm finishing the last Bachelor season that I haven't seen that is available online, but that's helped me see this very well. Tan Nicholas says, is true masculinity fading away? I don't think it is, Tan Nicholas, because I feel like it's within every guy kind of like naturally. Like you don't really have to look too far to find it. Lionheart says, do you also watch The Bachelorette? Absolutely, I do. KO says, Victoria, what do you think about Red Foreman, the old school pissed alpha father figure? I don't know him. Should I look him up? Red Foreman? Uh, okay, guys. Eldora says, "What can I do if I have the necessity of competing with my girlfriend?" Um, could you explain that more, Eldora? So BG says, "A few gym girls ask for my number or for help with exercises. I feel meek and lame when a girl expects me to chase her. She should chase me. It's beta AF to be a tryhard." Well, BG, I have the exact opposite perspective. Um, That's really interesting though. Like you feel meek and lame when a girl expects me to chase her. Because, like, to be honest, like I see that as kind of like the most masculine thing you could do. You don't have to chase, but to initiate and plan and pursue her. I mean, that's what most girls want. I don't really know who you're gonna get to chase you. Like, I don't know. Like personally, I every guy who wanted me to chase them, I just didn't chase because I had a lot of other options. And I feel like it's masculine AF to do that, but you said it's beta AF to be a tryhard. That's kind of like the attitude which I feel like hurts a lot of guys because it's like you're insecure because it's like you feel lame to chase. But that's kind of like the masculine attitude that women are craving. I'm not kidding. Like it honestly seems beta to be like that to many women. So I don't know, like do if it's working for you, but I would honestly say you're not going to get anyone. Like maybe that's too harsh, but I can't see it working well. And it's like once you, it's just the whole attitude in general is like the opposite of what you need to have. Like I was telling you guys like about my boyfriend, he has like this generous like masculine provider energy. I know he's not even like buying me stuff and like super rich and everything like that, but it's like his masculine attitude of like I am the man. I'm going to make her feel special. I'm gonna like treat her like a princess, and I'm gonna get what I want out of it too. So I don't know, I just don't like it. But just God Life says, but isn't chasing women unattractive on some level? Considering it implies that she already have you and you're no longer a challenge. Well, okay, like I guess we have to. She's not gonna think she already has you. Like you don't have to express like I'm in love with you. I'm so into you. You're the most beautiful woman I've ever met. Please give me a chance. You're the only like chance I'll ever get to be with someone like really attractive. Like please, I need you. No, like you're not doing that. But you're just saying like, you meet her and you're like, I want to get to know you more. Come on this date with me. Friday night. I want to take you to this place that I think you're really like based on like our conversation. Then, like, you go on the date. Then you follow up being like, I had a lot of fun on our date. I want to see you again. How about Saturday? We go for like a picnic in the park. And then, you invite her over to your place. You don't just like wait for her to invite you over to her place. You have to be like pushing things forward. You have to be escalating. You have to be initiating. You have to be like the aggressor. And then you ask her on another date. Then you ask her on another date. See, you're pursuing, you're chasing, but it's not like, you're this desperate, obsessed beta guy who's like desperate for her attention. It's like you're the man. You're a man, not a boy. You know what I'm saying? So, does that make sense? Nani2 says, thank you so much, Nani2. I really appreciate your tip. And you said that's what the red pill feeds most men to never chase. I like to think as having persistence with yourself. Yeah, that was like, I know. That was like the biggest shock to me when I started this channel and everyone was saying, never chase. You are the prize. Never chase a woman. I'm like, good luck. Good luck, guys. And that's kind of like what Corey Wayne was saying too. And it's just like, okay. And he describes in his book that basically the only girls who are chasing him, they're like, I'm not gonna say crazy. They're weird. They're weird. They're the minority of women. You'll be waiting around a lifetime because you're waiting around for a small minority of women who's gonna chase you. And maybe if you're really good looking, you will get 10 of them in a lifetime. I don't know. You're not gonna be getting very much. I think you're gonna have much better luck if you are pursuing, you are initiating. You're not just waiting for some like very odd, probably slightly crazy woman to throw ourselves at you because that's not normal behavior for most women. That's the thing. So, JG, thank you so much. He said, rewatching the response you gave me, I appreciate you doing my favorite thing, an impersonation of a dumb dude on a date. Ha, ha, hilarious. Oh, thanks, JG. Hopefully, I know I kind of feel bad when I do that because sometimes like I'll just make fun of people in like a accent, and I'm kind of like, that's rude, but I'm glad you think it's hilarious. So thank you, JG. I really appreciate that. And 92, I was wondering, what do you mean by like think of having persistence within yourself or persistent with yourself? I'm curious. Um, thanks guys. And JG says, no, it's the very best part of your videos. Okay, thanks, JG. KO says, it kind of bugs me about all this talk about alpha and beta, and you should only feed the girl scraps. Yeah, it's stupid. Dan T says, chasing is a masculine trait. A woman chasing is a masculine woman. Although I hate to agree, I kind of agree. On Jay says, are you sitting in a leather office chair? Oh God, it might be leather. This is not my chair. This is not my house. So I am using perhaps a leather chair. Oh God. You got me, Anjay. I don't know. Maybe it's pleather, but it actually probably is leather, unfortunately. Wow. So just got a life says, so you want him to lead and take the charge, but not be needy and desperate. Right. Just got a life. Well said. Yeah. Yeah, just got a life. I think there's a distinction. I think the type of men chasing you're describing is suitable for a long-term relationship, aka provider. But I think a lot of people here also just want short-term or casual. That's definitely a great point because I do think that's a big like female blind spot because women are always thinking about like guys they want to be in a relationship with, whereas men are just thinking about like girls they want short-term or casual. But like in this situation, I really think that even if it's short-term or casual, if the woman's gonna have sex with you, she wants you to chase. I mean, maybe if you're not like, I don't know, like basically guys I wanted to have sex with acted like that. Whether or not they wanted to be in a long-term relationship with me, they still acted like that. That's what I feel like you guys don't know necessarily, is because like I went on over 300 dates, um, and I experienced on my phone, texting and all that, a lot of guys with good game. And there's a lot of guys who chase meaning they pursue, but not in a desperate and crazy way. And there's a lot of guys who don't. And I'm telling you, lots of guys know how to do this well. And those are the guys who are getting women and having sex. Yeah, they're probably slightly better looking than average as well. However, just because you're good looking, if you have like this red pill attitude, it's not going to work out for you. The woman isn't going to agree to go on the date with you. She's not. Unless she's stupid. Like literally. To put it bluntly. That's honestly true. Like I can't unless the woman has like zero experience with men, she's really dumb. She's like lived in, you know, a nunnery for like her whole life. She's not going to fall for it, and she's not going to want it, even for someone she wants to have sex with. Most women want to have sex with guys that there's potential for a long-term relationship with. That's another thing. So they want to see you putting in like the long-term relationship behaviors, then they'll have sex with you, and then it's up to you whether or not you want to be in a long-term relationship with them. So yeah, James Sharp, good distinction. Let's be real, there are men with game and there are beta male providers simps that have no game, no understanding of how women check. Yeah. Good point. Like you could do this right and you could do this wrong. Yeah. Um Just Got Life says, I won't call taking the lead or asking for a date is chasing, to be honest. But yeah, apart from semantics, I think I agree with you. Okay, yeah, that might be the issue. It's like, what does chase mean to you? Like, what are you thinking of when you're saying chase? Is there some like desperate frenzied attempt to like get her to love you or get her to have sex with you or whatever? That would be bad. But yeah, taking the lead, asking for a date, following up, taking the initiative, being complimentary even. These are all good things. These are all masculine things. So 92 says, when I say having persistence with yourself, I mean like don't just give up after one attempt. I used to have that mentality of just hitting up a girl once and then do nothing afterwards. 100% 92. So important. So very important. And so very controversial, but so very important. Okay. JG says, do it more often if possible. Okay. I think I could do a, I think I could like really go hard on that, JG, if I wanted to, because sometimes I get so annoyed with certain types of commenters and I just mock them all day long. Certain people, guys, you have no idea how annoying certain people are. None of you guys are fitting this. You're all being perfect angels, but you have no idea how annoying some people can be. So James Sharp says, pursue women, not chase them. So James, what do you think would be an example of someone who's chasing rather than pursuing? Samuel Williams says, with good game and a combination of a bunch of other things, rejection shouldn't happen 100% of the time. If rejection is consistent when chasing, you should try to change your approach. Yeah, well, that's definitely good. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, 100%. So Sketchy Loop says, hey, tell me how do I maintain her attraction to me after handling rejection bravely and now she's attracted to me? I would ask her to hang out again. I would ask her to like go somewhere with you like at night where there's alcohol and like there's a bar and then try to like escalate things from there. So so Cosmo Nucleo says, so I texted this girl a month ago. She was taking an up she was talking about an upcoming trip. What do you think she would think if I texted her after a month to say, how was your trip? Um, why wait a whole month? Like, why not text her on the trip? Depends. Like, does this girl, did you guys kind of have a connection? But yeah, I would just be like, "How's your trip?" or something like that, or text her about something you saw that reminded you of her or something like that. So Paul says, I find it interesting your description of the energy on stage as a pro, experienced dancer has some similarities I'm aware of playing in a band, a great show where we open ourselves up to the crowd. Yeah, it is really interesting. It is really interesting. Well, like, this probably isn't that interesting to you guys, but I did this dance studio stuff, and basically they have this whole concept of like the erotic creature. And the erotic creature is basically like your body. And it's kind of like shut off your brain. Like your body has kind of like desires of its own. Sorry. And then it's like when you just let your body lead, it is kind of like way more powerful and incredible than like you could ever think yourself into being. So I feel like performers like tap into that energy as well. So yeah, it's kind of like what dancers do and probably similar to the energy you're channeling on stage. So B-Ball Insight says, I have options, but this girl keeps flirting for me, like wearing a skirt and purposely making sure that I can see her G-string. I made a move and she said, nah, is it worth pursuing? I mean, was she flirting with you or was she just dressing sexy? And also, how exactly did she say no? Because that could change things. James Sharp, this seems like pretty solid advice. As you get to know a woman, the less time you know her, the less attention you give her. The more you know her, the more attention you give to her. Too much attention too soon makes her a beta to you. Yeah, I mean, you can definitely go like really overboard and it just gives away the fact that you're desperate and that you're just like too needy. Because you have to realize that like a guy that a girl wants to be with has options. So you kind of have to act like, don't make it obvious, but you want to mimic the behaviors of somebody who also has options. And if you betray the fact that you're desperate, it's not attractive to her. She kind of just subconsciously understands like you're beta. She doesn't want to be with someone who's like low on the totem pole, you know? So B-Ball Insight says, definitely flirting. She laughed as I saw her G-string. She knew what she was doing. She came to my house. Okay, so she came to your house. That's possible. She said no, like in a playful, laughing way, maybe another time kind of way. Well, then, yeah, keep asking her out. If she does it in a playful, laughing way, there could be a lot of reasons for that, but she's not rejecting you like hardcore, like, I'm not interested. No, I'm busy. I have a boyfriend. She could just be like, not yet. Ask her out again. Keep trying to hang out with her. Don't just give up. Until she really says no, like she means it. Sounds bad, but you know what I mean. Yeah, Sam Elliam says, I wish you could explain how guys can be less direct with girls. Being too direct can be a turn off. Like by saying, I want a friend with benefit. Do you want a friend with benefit? With me? Yeah, that would be really bad, Sam. You do not want to say that. That's a great point. Like, you don't wanna say it. Like, you can't just say, "Hello, I would like to have sex. Would you like to have sex with me?" They'll say no. So that's a great question. Um, you First of all, the reason why a girl is not gonna wanna say this. I should go soon because 'cause I'm getting pretty tired. But, basically, I'll just quickly just answer your question, Sam. Because like, if a girl if you ask a girl, "Do you wanna have sex? Would you like to be a friend with benefits? Like, we could have sex and, no relationship. Like, it would just be for our mutual pleasure. Like, would you like that?" I'm just kind of elaborating on what a girl would hear when they hear friend with benefits. So, if they say yes, that's like them saying, 1, I don't value myself highly because a guy should put in effort to have sex with me, woo me, take me on a date at the very least. 2, it's also like them saying, "Yes, I would, because I am sluttier than every single other girl on planet Earth. That's why I'm the only girl who'd accept this offer and nobody else would." It's basically like them saying, "Yes, I'm a slut." Okay, maybe you'll get some extremely kink positive, sex positive girl who's okay with that. Most girls are not there yet. Okay, so it's really scary for them and very shameful to say they like sex, they want no strings attached sex, and they like being a slut. Okay, that's very scary for a lot of women because they're all brainwashed by you Andrew Tate followers being like, "Oh, a woman with a high body count is bad," and all that BS. Okay? So they're not gonna just say yes. You need to give them whatever you wanna call it, plausible deniability or whatever that means, but you wanna give them basically the feeling like it just happened. The moment was right, the chemistry was crackling, and it just happened. And in order to do that, you wanna take them to a romantic location, like a dark wine bar, possibly a concert where there's alcohol, there's dancing, people are wild, people are free. You can kind of do things you wouldn't normally do in like a coffee shop. And then you can also use an excuse to come back to your house, like tell her like, "Oh, let's just like have a drink at my house." It's like, "Oh yeah, we can just have a drink. That doesn't mean I'm a slut." And then one thing can lead to the next. And if she wants to have sex with you, she has the opportunity and she has the cover. You know what I'm saying? So you don't want to just say, "Would you like to have sex?" Because even if she wants to have sex, she'll say no. I don't know if that was helpful, but yeah. So B-Ball Insight says, "I told her to come back next time, put on a better show, and she blushed." Yeah, it's not good B-Ball Insight just because it's fine, okay, but don't just say come back next time and put the ball in her court. Like you follow up. It's all on a whim says she could have been on her period. That's actually a good point. It's true. William Brown said, "That's the kind of woman you want." Lots of girls wear G strings. Like it's not like it's very odd how you guys want a girl who has casual sex with you, but doesn't like casual sex. Like it's very weird. Marco Ilera says, "Do you schedule these live sessions or are they just random?" They're random. James Sharp says, "Shout out to Victoria for being honest." Thanks, James. Elfaz says, "Is a man chopping firewood sexy to most women?" I'll say yes, Elfaz, it is sexy. It's that like masculine woodsman energy. It's like a guy who just like works all day, like doing manual labor, and he's all strong. And he's also like providing for you, kind of like in this fairy tale way. Um, like he's gonna save you from the wolf in Little Red Riding Hood, or he's just gonna like keep you warm in some, you know, house where he's your only hope to keep you warm. So yeah. William Brown says, "Good point, Victoria." I'm not sure what you're referring to, William Brown, but thanks. I forgot. I forgot what I was referring to. And then Just Got Life says, "Have you read books by mystery?" I haven't. Should I do it? Then Marco Alario says, "Isn't a dark wine bar or concert a little too much for the first date, especially if you've never seen the girl in real person, met on Instagram?" No, it is not, because do you guys want to have sex or not? And does it matter if you've like what? Like she doesn't look like her pictures and then like you don't want to have sex with her? Why don't you guys just have sex with women who don't look like perfect, and then you guys will have practice and it'll be good. And no, it's definitely not too much. If you want to have the possibility of sex on a first date, like go there. So Milkman says, "What's up, fam? Hello." Floki says, "Is it attractive if a guy apologizes or should he keep his mouth shut?" I think it's attractive, Floki. I definitely think it's attractive. You might possibly overdo it, but I think it's don't just keep your mouth shut. Paul says, "I think there has been sort of a taming of the freeness of generations from the end of the 90s to now. Of course, not all, but the ability to even talk freely about the subject, I feel, has reduced." Yeah, I can definitely see that. Like, I could see that. Like, it seems like, before, like, I don't know, like the childhoods of somebody in like the 70s or 80s, just seemed like they were literally free, like roaming the streets and the woods. And it seems like people don't really grow up like that anymore. Just one example. Oh, hey, Michelle. Hey, missed you too. Unfortunately, I'm just about to end. Sorry about that, but I feel very tired. So, uh, she's saying I have a bit of amazing update. Very cool. Let's just see. So BG says, "I don't think any of her advice applies to women in a major, highly educated, career-focused, and competitive cities dating environment." Well, does New York City fit the? Because that's where I was dating. That's literally the most competitive, major, highly educated, career-focused environment in the whole fucking world. So yeah, it fits. Uh, all right, guys. I'm so sorry. I gotta go. This was crazy live, right? Well, maybe not for you guys, but for me a little bit. So, thank you guys so much for everything. JD says, "Divorce is blasting dudes, put them in their plates." All right, who wants to be blasted? Because I could blast you guys right now, but yeah. All right, guys, I gotta go. But you guys are all awesome. Here are two circles for you to turn you guys on. Stupid joke. Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye, goodbye, goodbye. And you guys are awesome. You guys get a exemption from the patriarchy. Or rather, do you get, or maybe you get top spots in the patriarchy. You get high status positions in the patriarchy, in my mind. So, goodbye, everybody, and thank you so much to those who have tipped me. I really appreciate you guys. You guys are men among boys. Sorry to insult the rest of you guys, but you guys are awesome. Yeah, your JG says you're the top G's of the patriarchy. Yeah, and the guys who tip me are the top G's. So, and then somebody says, who went? Tan Nicholas says, who wins, the vampire, the pirate, or the billionaire? I'm gonna say it's like fuck, marry, kill. I'm gonna fuck the pirate. Marry the billionaire and kill the vampire. All right, guys. Yeah, I'm not so into vampires, guys, but yeah. Be doing everyone a favor by killing them, right? Peace out to everybody. Thanks for your amazing questions. You guys teach me about men, and yep, here's the circles for you, B. Smith. All right, bye, guys.